What's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about how bright the future looks. Glass half full. It's a glass half full stream. Future looks bright. Piggybacking off the tweet that Richie put out a couple days ago. Very positive energy. That's what we're doing. It sure is, brother. It's about that time. Who cares? What's up, man? Westcott Crypto. Salute, man. Those short clips you've been doing are fire. You know, keep those coming, man. That was very entertaining. That was very entertaining. You know, but it was something that you also inspired me personally to speak about a couple things. Related to some of the things you even mentioned on social media. You know, I could also align with the sentiment of appreciating just one thing, just deal with one or one aspect instead of being divided and putting, your energy, your money into a bunch of other different things. Is better. We better off sort of like pulling back and just kind of like really taking a deep look at what we have, you know, taking a deep look at what X is really about, how it works, what it's bringing to the entire crypto space and basically the world. Many people frown upon it because they don't understand it, and there are those who say they understand. And when they talk about it, you would just say, "Come on, man! Not only is it questionable, but not Hex, but their stance for those who say they understand. Give it a chance. At least give it a chance. If you live in a Western world or Western system or some type of capitalist society, we have to deal with our baseless fiat, our money. We take chances every day when we spend our money, when we continue to have faith in this paper, this currency that loses value over time. It's not conspiracy, it's reality. And then when you have a technology like this, that's just present in crypto and specifically in Hex, where you don't have to ask JP Morgan Chase for permission to mine your tokens. Now I can't say staking anymore. I can, but when you try to use these contracts to work for you on your behalf, people just simply don't understand. It's almost like it's not even, to me, I think is worse than cognitive dissonance. Appreciate you too, Grounded in Hex, and thank you for that sentiment, for real. Um, how do we how can you just in good faith close your mind to an opportunity that just simply works and is working whether you're in it or not? You might as well benefit from it by using it. You might as well benefit from it, you know? Believe in Hex. Like that's just real. That's the truth. I didn't believe in Hex in the beginning. I thought it was just gonna not turn out to be what it was saying that, 10,000 in 2.5 years. I bought into the whole where's the ETH narrative? Where's the ETH? Where's it going? Who owns the ETH? Recycling ETH. All these videos that came out trying to disparage the whole community. And you have a core group of people that just stood fast and they were just learning. I remember January 2020, before the world was brought to its knees from a health crisis. I remember that time, and I remember how people in the Hex community were fighting so many, most antagonists, and were even saying in January. I remember I was on witnessing a stream where people were going against Hex. And some people in Hex were responding in the chat saying things like, well, their coin just went up 4x. The value of their coin, of the Hex token, went up 4x. And mind you, this was in January, and the thing launched just a month prior. And this was after the 33-day, after January 5th when it hit the bottom. So in the middle of that month, people were saying that their coin went up 4x, and folks couldn't believe it. Folks actually had to remain quiet, including myself, because up to that point, I still didn't believe. But I respected the math. I said 4x in just a few weeks, a few days, a short period of time, even let's say a month, 2 months. That is not bad. Multiply any figure by 4x. That is sexy. That's great. Multiply any figure. But I still was hard-headed back then. Until I started playing with it a little bit, didn't understand it. This was like the spring of 2020. Didn't understand it. Got rid of it. Why? I don't know. Ignorant. One of the worst financial crypto mistakes I made in my experience. And then shortly after that, a year after that, not even, maybe, yeah, a year after that is when I said, you know what? It was like the beginning of 21. Let me just see what this is, man. Because at that point, DeFi was on a roll, but not to the level it is right now. You didn't have certain things that you have now, but the education and the foundation was still there. I talk about first principles and philosophy, and certain mechanics were still there. So I said, let me just take a chance, and I never looked back. Let me just take a chance. And I saw what it did in a beautiful way, simple too, where you don't have to really stress yourself out. This thing eliminates stress. And where, excuse me one second, folks. Yeah, what's funny? Sidebar. Shout out to the people watching. Al Merlos, what's going on? What's going on? NJ Money in the building. Yes, we already won. We're gonna get there one day at a time. Sure, we're one day closer to the next all-time high for Hex, one day closer to Pulse Chain mainnet launch and Pulse X. Sound is out. Yeah, because I got interrupted by somebody, and I told them I wasn't able to entertain them, and they still kept talking. I'm like, what? You know. Well, what I'm saying, like with this whole thing with Hex, right, and the T shares and delaying gratification. That's certain things we take for granted in life. we take our youth for granted in life, in a sense where ourselves, when we were young, and those of us who were fortunate enough to live past our, teenage years, and we're older and we're living life doing what we have to do, we take our young youthful power for granted, right? We take our health for granted. We take so much, we take our time for granted. Sometimes we put things off thinking that, you know, we'll get to it when we get to it. We'll be able to accomplish something. We put it off because we feel like other things are more important. I've done that. I've done that. And though I've made those types of mistakes, right? Time, some circles, people don't believe in time, but that's not for this discussion here. Time is something that we use to measure, right? To measure events, to measure points in our lives. These points are valuable because these are points that come and go that we can't recover, we can't take back. So when we delay our gratification, we were forced, and not even forced, we were trained, those of us who, been through school, been educate the educational system, et cetera, we understood that we had to go through different grades, different steps in our lives, different moments, attain, degrees, a diploma, degrees, et cetera, because things move in a certain chronological way involving time where we have to sacrifice, even sacrifice ourselves, our energy, our whatever likes that we have, put those things aside because we have to work now real hard to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor later on in life. Or actually, the school systems in certain ways, which I'm not too crazy about because they didn't teach us how to make money. The school systems only taught, like for me and my peers and people in my generation, only taught us how to remain enslaved by just being workers, not to create your own business, not to have your own company. We were trained to do good in school, to graduate and get a good job, to enrich the pockets and the coffers of employers, not employees. And it was not until like much later after I graduated from high school that I started to learn by, and doing working in different places that you're going to be very hard pressed to become wealthy or at least get rich because there's a difference, right? Between being rich and being wealthy. You're going to be very hard pressed to get rich or become wealthy working a 9 to 5. Meanwhile, your employer is in such a much more advantageous position than we are. Those of us who were trained in such a way to believe that working is the way, going to school, learn, do good, so that you could come out with the skills, the basic skills that you need, maybe a little specialty here and there, so that you can exercise your skills that you took so much years to study, to train and be trained and programmed to work. Be that worker slave, that worker bee, and enrich the coffers of the queen bee. Pronoun game heavy, Don, good to see you, Don. It's been a while. Hope all is well. You know? So when I realized that this whole thing about being a person, your own boss, right? What's involved with all of that? What's involved with that? You have to now figure out what steps are you going to take to create your own destiny, to call the shots? What need can you identify that people may want without them even realizing, where you create a product or a service at a cost? What are you offering? What business, what type of model are you going to work with? You identify a need, and then you provide a solution to the need. But that's you. That's you now having to sacrifice hanging out, sacrifice, doing things that you may want to do, spending time with your family or spending time with friends or engaging in different activities that make you happy. Now you have to like figure out a way where you listen, put that aside and work hard on yourself so that you can create something where you don't have to depend on someone giving you a check, even though you know it's much, much harder. Well, I don't know if you know, but when you own your own business, it's all on you. It's 24/7. It doesn't really stop when it's you running a business. It's all on you. Overhead is on you. Material is on you. Depending on what the business is, it's on you. You have staff, it's on you, right? You have accounting, you have payroll, you have all these. It's all insurance, it's resting on you. Are you in profit? You're gonna have to sacrifice 2, 3 years before you see something in the green, depending on the model, the business model you're working with. It rests on you. But you know what? It's liberating in a sense too. Sure. With all of these things, it can be stressful, it can bring anxiety, it's hard work, but it's also liberating. And this is just regular brick and mortar type of situation where you're hustling. Sorry about that. Where you have to apply yourself in certain ways. And again, people may not understand your commitments. They not understand your drive. They may not understand why you're not around as much. It's because you're trying to build something. And here we have crypto that eliminates so much of those types of levels of stress and overhead and responsibility, where you have just, you're making money off of a computer through these products, through these blockchains, through these smart contracts, DeFi, all these things that are going on. And you could do whatever you want because you know that at a certain point, price activity goes up. You're receiving yield on a regular basis because you're staking, you're mining, doing whatever it is, it's multiplying on your behalf. It frees you from dealing with financial worry and stress and drama. And then you can enjoy that very commodity that's so precious that we can't take back, that we don't even control, and that's time. A lot of us, I see, we oftentimes, a lot of us, like, well, I don't know. What I've thought about was the whole T-share thing, right? T-shares, 1,000 shares, you need a certain amount of hex to acquire a T-share, because T-share goes up, 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 up and to the right, never goes down. After every end stake, that bumps up the T-share rate, et cetera, et cetera. So many people have X amount of T-shares from the beginning till now. And the T-share that you have now, when your stake ends, you're gonna need more hex to acquire that same T-share. So it's almost akin to what life is, where things just disintegrate over time. Things disintegrate. But as life continues, what position are we gonna play in this continuum? Because things do break down. You might have whales that have thousands of T-shares, believe it or not. So, each day they're acquiring huge sums because they got in early. And not only did they get in early, but the t-shirts were also much, much, much more affordable than they are today. And they took advantage of that. They allowed this tool to work with time to offer us a chance to balance or even level up or even do exceedingly well with our financial lives without us having to worry about, is this thing going to turn off? Is this thing going to stop paying? Is this person or someone going to pull the plug on this? And it's like, I don't know. It's like the world doesn't even really know. I don't, and I say that in a general sense because you got a community. The community is what helps this thrive too, because without the community, none of this would work. Just like we believe in fiat paper, none of this would work. Excuse me 1 second. You know, we have a community that's involved, heavily involved, very active, and that's great. That's beautiful. But the majority of the people don't know what's going on in these communities. They don't know what's going on, and they just don't. They have no idea. And in the beginning, when I officially decided, let me just make content talking about hex because I like it. I like it. And then we introduced the pulse chain and the whole sacrifice periods, and then pulse X and more of a sacrifice period and all this stuff. And just to kind of like do my part to also create content to share and spread the word, and not to force people to do anything because I'm not chilling. I'm not getting paid to do this, but to talk about ideas and also learn together about how these things work. Because what we're doing is we essentially are delaying our gratification because we know it's just that much better and that much more rewarding when you work hard on doing whatever task, trying to complete a task, and when you reach that desired outcome, oh man, the satisfaction is beyond words. And that's what we're engendering right now by just engaging and learning and participating and using this tool that's just available to everybody, anyone out here who has a little bit of scratch, a little bit of fiat, and computer access. And there you go. You could also tune in to the matrix of hex, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Bless your heart, Don. Bless your heart. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you for you. You've been an avid supporter for years. This is a guy who always, not, when he gets a chance, he's been rocking with me for years. Don, I salute you. I appreciate that. You know, it's just, I think that at some point, when we talk about mass adoption, it's going to take time, but when it hits, it'll be a point of no return. I look at what we're going through right now in the ecosystem, especially with DeFi. This is DeFi in general, and I think about what it was like in 2009 and 2010. What it must have been like for the cypherpunks, that whole movement, the guys who were mining Bitcoin and conversing and communicating with each other. It was just like they had their own community. What could that have been like back then? Ground grass, they're in the gutter, in the thick of things. the bottom of the bottom, taking a chance, communicating with the likes of Satoshi, right? Rest in peace to people like Hal Finney, those pioneers. And even, Richie Rich, he said he started mining, I believe he said 2010 or so, and he's still here and trying to really show people and teach people the important aspects of crypto. You may not really care for his personality and things of that nature, but the information you can't deny. It's the information that he shares that becomes very useful and applicable and powerful in and of itself, regardless of who a person is. It's like we all human. We make mistakes. The things that he's done, I haven't been a fan of last year. A lot of things he was doing, I wasn't crazy about. But I have to give it up for his willingness to teach and share his intelligence as far as how to allow this system to benefit us. You know what I'm saying? And for him to openly say things like he knows he has a mental problem, but if it's through his mental problem, he's going to get everybody rich, and so be it. So, like it's like things like that is something that I notice and I make note of, you know. Grounded in Hex, much appreciated. Much appreciated. I appreciate that so much. And thank you. Thank you. You know, I've seen you also in other streams and I just have no words. But for this kind gesture, I appreciate it. Seeing you in other streams in the community, giving support to Grounded. If you were a content creator, I'd shout you out, tell people go subscribe. But I don't know if you're a content creator. That's a fact. Pull up HD. Who doesn't have a mental issue? You know, who, and then through our flaws, like through his flaws, he's just trying to educate people and allow people in mass to become wealthy. Like when he says things like he doesn't want to see cheap hex anywhere, I always go and start to think about how we now have two other fork chains that have hex. They have hex over there, but those chains are not really I believe like there's certain things that they need, infrastructure, more work needs to be done in the chains. The communities have to just basically continue to build with their proof of work, their proof of work one, and Hex is over there. You know what I'm saying? ETH POS, OFAC compliant, with the World Economic Forum, all involved with the Vitalik, all involved with them. And, the fees are still ridiculous. Even if there was some type of compliance and all that, at least if the fees were just as affordable as they are on ETH Power and ETH Fair, I mean, it would be less to be annoyed about it. Less, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. Am I off? I don't know. I look at a lot of things that's going on, people, and the future is looking bright. Like I need to believe that. The future is looking bright. The future is looking bright. The future is very positive. The future is the potential is immense. There are no bounds. You know, we know they're also opposites to everything. We understand that, but that's what also allows the future to be bright because we've been dealing with the opposite end for a while. Those of us who sacrifice for these chains, for these chains, meaning the chain, actual chain, pulse chain, and pulse X. If this is not delayed gratification, I don't know what is. We've been exercising that since the moment we decided to sacrifice for freedom of speech and freedom of movement. For those of us who stake hex, delayed no gratification off the bat, right there. And it alleviates a certain level of stress. The future is bright. Like, I don't like to deal with hype too much. So that's why I don't really bombard myself with some of the drama you find on Twitter, because it's laced with a lot of information, but a lot of it is not really useful. People, they get in their feelings, become emotional, and it becomes like this shouting match, these Twitter thugging, thumb thugging, and spaces is just what it is. It's like a glorified chat line on an app. I'm not bothered with that. I'm looking forward to when we all can hear mainnet is live. That's what I'm looking forward to. Like, to be honest, to be 100% honest, because then there would be no turning back. Again, another level, another leg of us not turning back. We're just moving forward, constantly moving forward. And a lot of people, in my opinion, are going to miss out. A lot of people are missing out now. So rest assured, as life goes on, as time continues to move and in the way it's moving, people are going to miss out. They're going to miss out. I've spoken to innumerable amount of people about not only crypto, but hex. And folks don't care. They just don't. Not as much as I thought they would. And so that's one of the reasons why I stay attuned with just social media, and I create content here, because at least you guys and gals can understand what I'm talking about, because we can't always have conversations with just regular folks because they just won't know. They don't understand. They just don't understand it. They think you're crazy. They think you're wasting your time. They think you're just like, you're not doing anything. Meanwhile, there's something incredible that's taking place here. Incredible. Like, I'm excited all the time in a good way. And that's not something that before I decided to stake long term, and just, I was always kind of like, I always had this uneasy feeling about certain things. That's disappeared. And I would love to allow, not even allow, to share these experiences and have other people decide, well, don't you want to feel the same thing? Be at ease. The prices went down 95+%, and you still at ease. That's not regular in other markets, even in crypto. Granted, you have to have other ways to survive. You have to have other means of income, right? But if you're not really like dependent on these stakes and stuff like that, you put it out long term, this is what it is. You don't really have to be stressed out. You don't have to be stressed out, and that's a good thing, and that's not really celebrated like it should be. And I'm not saying within the hex system, the community, because the hex community, we understand. I'm talking about just people, just the world at large just really doesn't know enough. Maybe 2-3 years from now, they'll find this content, other content, all the stuff that we've been talking about now. And then, because sometimes that's how it works. When I found out about Bitcoin, it was around 2015. So imagine, I was already 5 years into the whole thing. 5-year clip already took place. And so imagine, like, now I had to go back and, do the research and et cetera, et cetera. That's what's happening now. We're living through history. We're living through history. Those of us that document, those of us that We do live streams. Those of us that, do literary work, whatever type, however you want to contribute, grassroots, you're outside, you with the community, you just doing what you do, workshops, et cetera, education, forums, blah, blah, blah. We're living through history. We're being active participants in this space to create interest and generate value, like provide real value, real things that people can walk away from and use in their life. At least the information, they have the choice to either, use it or leave it. But at least it's there and it's available to them because we see where this is all going. I just heard a live stream from Access Alive and Silver the Antidote. Shout out to them, a half an hour clip where they talked about they were able to identify the activities of a particular guy, a particular person, whale in Hex, who back in January of 2020 acquired Hex by using a certain amount of Ethereum. And Ethereum was cheaper, I should say, not cheap, but cheaper, because it's all relative. About an early, $100, $125, $30 in January, that period, right? Where this particular whale bought $37,000 worth of ETH. Not bought, but had, right? And they applied it in the contract. They applied it in the Hex contract, staking for a short period of time or whatever period of time. But back then, this is when Hex, you had folks like me and thousands of other people who couldn't stand Hex, and Hex is going through all kinds of adversity. And you had somebody who took a chance because they not only did they take a chance, but it had to be sort of, they understood something that many of us refuse to understand. And even with 37K worth for back then, right now it's worth over $12 million US. So you see the return on it. And that's not during the all-time high. That's now. That's prices now, right? Like at the way, whatever, what, 6 cents? The amount of ETH, the amount of Hex that the person bought back then was $37,000 worth. In January. At the bottom too. I think you acquired it at the bottom. Like the bottom. When was that? January 5th, when it was at the lowest of the low? As far as price, around that time period. You know how much it was worth during the all-time high? Pocket watch. It's crazy. Crazy. But this is what this thing has done. This, you can't avoid it. You can't lie. You can't ignore. This is what crypto. I mean, it's 37K, and now thing is worth 12.5 million. Who couldn't use that at 6 cents? When imagine at 55 cents, how much it was, right? Who couldn't use that? We have other things now with other things that are trying to get onto Pulse Chain that I've been so like I don't really talk about other things like that because other than what we've that the guys I've created, the bond, the free airdrop that we get when we stake Hex as far as Hedron has been so far completely successful. Completely. Right? Even Hedron doesn't really get the recognition enough that it should, in my opinion, even though there's a community that does talk about Hedron and ICOSA. ICOSA, oh my goodness. Wow. More opportunity for people to not only delay gratification, but to learn and about how these things work so that you could also have all extra contracts, extra miners working for you on your behalf while you live your life that are tied to the T-sharing. And not only that, but they're on two other chains that people are afraid to talk about. I get it. I'm not mad. I get it because, these chains haven't proved their salt yet. They haven't stood the test of time. Time will tell. So it's like, yeah, there's no liquidity, barely. There is liquidity, but it's very low, you know, and no stable coins over there yet. The infrastructure leaves so much to be desired. But I'm looking at the prices of Hex on those two chains, and they're indicative of what Hex was on Ethereum POS in the early days. And if you believe Hex is Hex, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me 1 second. Yeah. So this is why I've been. I'm gonna say this before I let you good people go. You got to protect what you have because a lot of people are gonna do everything they can to take it from you. And sorry to say, a lot of these so-called projects that are itching for Pulse Chain to launch is because they want what you got. And they know how to appeal to the sensibilities of people who, struggle, you know, who have these like this proclivity to just gamble and take excessive risks. They know how to just feed into that so that they can just make you believe that you need what they have. And that's how they get you hook, line, and sinker. That's why you don't hear me talk about a lot of things because I've seen it. I've seen it so many times in Hex where I'm sorry, not in Hex, in crypto. I've seen it so many times in crypto where, how many countless, and not just me. Many people could just say the same thing. They've seen countless scams come and go, come and go, come and go, come and go. And then it's not going to stop. This is a part of what things are. In legacy, you got scams left and right. So why wouldn't it be present in something like crypto where, you have the fastest appreciating asset class, making people rich in a short period of time in their lives? Like this is, never been seen before. Like literally, folks have become well off in a very short period of time dealing with crypto. Even during a bull market, you throw anything at most cryptos, you'll make money. So imagine, folks are going to do everything. They're going to tell you, they're going to present, you know, glamour and glitz, shiny object, pretty, everything, sweet, talk sweet, tell you all this stuff just so that they could get what you have. That's why it's important. It's important for us to really be measured in what we're doing and understand what we own, like know what we own. It's not just about never selling, it's just about comprehending and appreciating and understanding and knowing what you have. Because at some point, like you have to enjoy it, but it's how you enjoy it. How do you enjoy the fruits of your labor, the rewards that you're receiving through the internet? That's really it. Without putting yourself at a disadvantage because you saw something else and a bunch of other 100 other different things that you sacrificed for or you gave money to, did whatever, and they panned out, they did not pan out, they did not turn out to be much of what. Maybe out of 100, you might find something, maybe one that, you know, who knows? But that's just been historically, that's just been what it is. Historically, you've had a lot of losers than winners. You just have like I mean, crypto. Last time I haven't checked the coin ranking site in so long. This is what I'm talking about as far as like when you say things are different, you have a different outlook. I don't need to check coin ranking sites. I'm not looking to just fill my head up with 30 different coins to say, oh, I'm well diversified. I'll be well diversified in garbage. Minimize all of that. Reduce that. Reduce that. I had to, because then it's costly. And I'm not, you know, I don't have it like that where I could just be, you know, I'll invest in 100 different things and YOLO. No, 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 no. It's not smart. It's not smart, you know. And this whole crazy thing will show you like how people sometimes, because we deal with different struggles and shortcomings, if you have a certain personality, right? There's folks are just gonna do things to clamp on to you in that way where they want you to keep coming back and giving them everything you have, and we don't need that's that energy you don't need. We have another project which one of the members project, and this was something I was talking about a year and a half ago, like why people need to be careful because you're gonna have a lot of people coming in showing you, hey, look at my idea. I want you to believe in my promise and my idea by giving me your money. Before Pulse Chain is even out. I'm not wishing for people to get wrecked. I'm not wishing for projects not to be successful and win, but it's shown otherwise. History has shown something else. And then when you have folks coming out with different things and they don't have any real experience in the space, that's even more risk that you're taking. When they don't have any experience, or they try to piggyback and duplicate successful things that have happened, and how successful do they become? How many projects have come to purport to be just like Hex, if not better, and rug pulled? And then you're gonna sacrifice for something like PulseX or Pulse Chain, and then sacrifice for a bunch of other stuff because people just copy. They copy what works, right? So you're gonna sacrifice, do sacrifice after sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. You diluted your own opportunity, and there's no Pulse Chain yet. But then instead of holding on to what's really important, what's making people create all these sacrifices, instead of holding on to what's really important, you let all that go because you're just so fixated on 100 different projects that's catching your attention because you can't control yourself. You can't help yourself. That doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. And then folks will say that, oh, I'm gatekeeping. I'm fudding. No, I'm speaking from experience and I'm sharing my experience. That has nothing to do with FUD. And if I was wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, and new and jumping into this space, I would want to hear both sides of a sort of a situation before jumping in. I hear you. He said P3D to the moon. Yeah, yeah. That was a phase. That was an era too. The whole hourglass movement. That was an era. 2018, 2019, even to now. Like you still have, you know, a couple, very few, very few. I know one community that's still rocking and rolling in the hourglass. That you know the deal, Don. But the whole thing with that is like with me, like my whole thing about the hourglass is, it's the likelihood of someone coming into those types of contracts after those contracts have been in existence, the likelihood of you becoming like you become dependent on cycles that have to be basically market makers have to come in and create cycles. And I don't like I wouldn't want to be dependent on that. I wouldn't want to engage in something that's just dependent on a group of people. Whenever, the cycles, they feel like pumping, they're going to pump the contract and then dump this. I like to have to get into something where over a period of time, you see it has a life of its own in a way. You're talking about hacks 3 years later, experience a 95+% correction, and people are still buying. Folks will dump hundreds of millions of hacks, affect the price in a small way, and then things get bought up again. Like it's just, and after 3 years, these other things, as far as the hourglass, a lot of people are just hoping certain they end up holding a bag of L's because a lot of times, most of the people that win have been in there the longest, they've been in there early and held the longest, and then you have losers who come in after, buy big, and they can't recover because there's no activity taking place with the contract. There are no cycles. You have to create cycles, and it's just not organic enough to me. You know what I'm saying? You have to have people, they have to have consistent volume, folks interested in buying into those things. And people always, you have so many people that are left wondering when, where, why, and how because their bags have not returned on their investment. They're at a deficit. And for how long? Who knows? And I don't like that. I don't like that. Thoughts, child, what's going on, man? For sure, man. For sure. Speak, teach, testify, create. One of those. Later. Yeah, man. I mean, it comes and goes, but yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. If you're chasing that T share, over time it's gonna be unattainable. And in the meantime, how do we live, right? We chasing opportunities for greatness. After a while, it becomes unattainable. But in the meantime, while we go, while we evolve, while we move forward, while we progress and go for the gold, right? How are we improving ourselves? How are we developing? How are we growing? How are we living life? How are we living life? And then you also have to understand, we have intrinsic value. Instead of like, we have intrinsic value to the point where these contracts, we decide to use them. What's up, James? We decide to use them on our behalf. And because we're so fired, because we have so much light, because we're so valuable, right? But those folks just don't know this. But because we're so valuable, we continue to live life while these things print and work for us on our behalf. The computer is just doing what it's doing. The blockchain, the smart contracts, they're just developed and designed to work however they're working while we continue to attract what we deserve in life outside of crypto, outside of these machines. It's not chasing these T-shares, really, right? It's the T-shares that are looking for attention, but because they're designed in a way to consistently go up, once they're looking for attention and we give it to them, well, they are slaves for however long that we agree to mine. And they're mad about that. So, they're going to dissolve and disintegrate by the time we end these stakes because we need more hex to be able to acquire the same T-share. But who would really care? Who really cares when it's you that's the gold? But folks, it's just a different way of looking at things. It's just a different way of looking at things. These are just tools that we have at our disposal here to help us just have some decent financial standing, because finance is a major part of our lives. It's a major part. It's a major part of our lives. Finance could build and destroy. Finance could, help you create opportunities. Finance could destroy marriages. Finance could, help you alleviate yourself from having debt. Finance could just help you just become completely uncontrolled, completely unstable, lose everything because you just can't cope anymore. But these are, these outliers that exist. Where's the middle ground? Because we have to be in the middle somewhere. We're not using cowrie shells, right, to make purchases. We're using this fiat that they keep taxing, invisible taxes upon taxes, that takes the power of that fiat keeps weakening over time. And we don't have any power, in a sense, to combat the cabal, to have them recognize that we are not in agreement with their devilish and wicked ways, demonic ways. So we use this new technology here to see what's going to come up out of it. What's going to happen? We're gonna see. We're gonna see. This is what we have. This is it. Right? This is it. This is all we got right now. But we always have us. We always have us. Because this wasn't just spawned, just something external from outside of somebody's mind, right? We have us. The value starts within us. You want to play in a team, you want to hone some type of skill, you want to be efficient and proficient in something that you do, you have to practice, you have to study, you have to put the work in, you have to exercise, you have to take care of yourself, you have to rest. Because you're valuable. We're the ones that are valuable. All this stuff is just attracting to what we emanate. It's just a connection of what we emanate. These are just, manifestations of what we think. So if you have a tool like this that came from somebody's thought, this was created out of somebody's thought, where does the value really lie? If you take the time to really think about the fact that we have to believe in something to give it its power, to give it its relevance, to lend its validity, it stems from who we are. If these blockchains had no community, if no one believed in Hex at all, Hex would be worthless. Blockchains would be worthless. The fiat dollar monetary system would have no power, no relevance, no worth, no value. It comes from us, from folks we're looking at things like backwards. We're just doing things different. And not everyone really, but this is what it all boils down to. That's why when you understand, you introduce yourself, because that's what you do sometimes. You have to introduce or reintroduce yourself to your glory, and you allow hex or contracts of these things to work for you, because that's what it's here for, to serve us. If it's not going to serve us, it's going to serve somebody else who understands what I'm talking about. Mr. Old Days, right? John Doe in the building. What's going on, man? I'm sorry, James Doe. James. I said John Doe. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that your channel got lost. Yeah, man. I mean, when you have light, people you can't hide, When you have light, it's very hard to hide. It's very hard to hide because people are gonna find you. And that's just what it is, you know. With great power comes great responsibility, right? Thank you. Thank you, thoughts. It's what it is, man. Like, it's what it is. I've seen that's what sometimes when I see how the infighting, when we allow, and I get caught up in it too, but I don't create internet, extra internet drama outside of what I talk about. I've done it in the past, had so-called wars, right? It, and I've also repaired my my dealings with so-called content creators of the past, not so-called, but different content creators of the past that I was quote unquote beefing with, is because I learned that what is this all about? We all looking for the same thing in a way, but when we allow our emotions and our ego to be on the surface, it can throw us off. It can throw us off. And I'm looking at this from a different perspective only because I've been through so much garbage in crypto, so much garbage. And I'm not going to give up because I'm in crypto forever, for as long as it exists. And all I've been trying to do is find what works for me, what I like the most, what makes sense. And out of all the communities that I've been around, I've been involved with, because there's other communities and you have brilliant minds everywhere and everything. The level of like intelligence, the level of cognitive aptitude, right? The level of intelligence that some of the members in this community have, and when they're teaching and speaking their thoughts about what's going on here, it just lends me also to believe that the future is very, very bright, because we don't all have the knowledge. No one person has the knowledge to everything. It's all scattered, right? You will have a child who's a prodigy, who has 3 degrees at a PhD level, who's 9 years old, because not everyone all has, it's all disseminated, uneven. We all have some type of something, strength, if you want to call it, something to contribute to the fold. And when I hear the different perspectives from people in this community, it just lets me, and this is apart from the founder, apart. This is apart from the founder. And he's also said himself, Richie Rich has also said himself, listen, when he hears some of the talks that are taking place, he's just like, he knows. And, he'll just say, Hex is the best, like the community. Some of these guys speak, they're very, very intelligent. And he knows. He, he's aware. And it's just a lot of these things just make sense. It's just some people are unwilling to go past their own. I had to go and look at myself in the mirror and deal with why did I think this was a scam, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it were foolish reasons. Foolish reasons. Lessons learned that I'm not going to repeat again. I refuse. I refuse. You know, I'm not. We delaying our gratification. Instant gratification has a purpose, but you can't be instantly trying to gratify yourself every day. It just doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. If I want to become a master at a skill, I'm not going to become a master overnight. It's going to take work. It's not even about being a master. If you want to be proficient, if you want to, be well knowledgeable, well versed, an expert, if you will, in some type of skill, discipline, whatever it is, it's going to take work. And you got to go make a lot of mistakes, a lot of practice, et cetera, et cetera. It's a form of delayed gratification, is a form of sacrifice. And it's going to work out because in the end, you'll see and be rewarded. And it'll be an inner level of satisfaction that this thing will bring, that this thing has brought. That's why you have people who are just committed. I could tell were committed. I could talk about this. Like I'm just as bullish today, if not more, than I was when I realized when the light turned on. Like extremely bullish. And that's what makes me even more careful and aware when I see other things coming in. It's not like I'm anti-projects coming onto Pulse Chain. I'm anti-foolishness. You know? Yeah, exactly. 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 Because it's about values. As a parent, as a leader, in that natural sense, being a parent, you're the head of your life. Number one, you're the head of your home. You have a family. The ears don't go above the head unless you're a rabbit. You have children to protect, to lead, to love, to nurture, to guide, to support, to do all these, to teach, to do all these things. Who has time? Who has time to engage, right? In non-productive things. And don't get me wrong, I like entertainment. And some of the drama, is entertainment, but like I only take it in doses because overall the drama is not going to add any value to what we have going on here, to the reason why we're all connected right here. We're all connected for other reasons, but this particular aspect right here, although we believe it's negative, it's just a reflection of who we really are. Like we this brought us together for a reason. I'm not gonna let our egos and nonsense get in the way to disrupt what really matters, man. You know, right? Because hey, what's it all for? I'm getting on the internet to worsen my quality of life. I'm gonna get on crypto Twitter. I'm gonna get on some type of live stream and beef with some people to stress myself out and be miserable. No, no. It's easier to do that. It's harder to not do it in some cases because you know it's easy to give up. But when we have to work hard and do certain things to be successful, productive, in life, it deserves a certain level of determination and drive that some of us, we're like, nah, that's too much work. but it pays off. It pays off better. Pays off better. There's a lot of emotional immaturity involved just in life. You find it in the community too. We recognize it, keep it moving. There's no shot to anybody, but it's just what it is. There's a lot of emotional immaturity and just again, ego and greed and all this stuff. But the future is bright. The future is bright. It's bright. I've heard all kinds of shenanigans and conspiracy and all kinds of stuff about what people believe is going on and why this thing is taking forever to launch. Yo, listen, man. You can't be 100 years old in one day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, folks, you can't. You're born today. Tomorrow, you can't be 18 years old, 20 years old, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. It takes time. Everything goes in steps. You have levels to every. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? It's growth, development, evolution, advancement, improvement, ascension. Our bodies change every day. There's certain things we don't have control over. You let it be. You can't control your involuntary functions in your. You know what I'm saying? Can we control the sun appearing and disappearing, or can we control air? Can we control the blood that flows through our veins? Can we control how? Yeah, what are we doing? Well, people just want to recognize other things and not focus on the fact that, listen, we're here for a certain amount of time. Let's make the most of it. Let's make the most of it. And while we're making the most of it, when we, transition or whatever, at least we left something to make things a little bit better for people. Left something behind. We added to the fold, contributed something positive, beneficial. That's all I'm saying. Really and true. That's really what it's about for me. Like let's live in the form of like when we're suffering, we seek medicine, right? When we're hurting, we go and we seek to be healed, to be treated in certain ways. This is what this is about. We've been financially hurt for so long. We've been struggling, we've been suffering for so long. And when somebody is applying, is providing information, education, and the tools to alleviate those pains, those financial pains, generational, generational long, like how long have we've been going through these things. Like our parents, I mean, listen, I could go in a whole different bag. But we're here as leaders in our own right. Whether you want to believe it or not, those of us who are taking chance at crypto, we're leaders. We're trailblazers. The people that think we're bona fide back crap crazy. They think we're out of our mind. What are you talking about? Digital money, cryptocurrency, all this. They think it's a curse. They think it's just something, somebody even told me before. They don't believe in crypto. They believe in Jesus Christ. Implying that crypto is nothing, there's nothing holy, there's nothing sanctified, it's all demonic, devilish. And I'm like, yeah, but the currency you got in your pocket, what? You don't think blood is laden with blood? You don't think there's any type of drama, crime, war crime centuries old attached to that? What we, you know? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna let you good people go. One more thing, you know, I don't know. I could tell you, listen, I'm not gonna really talk. I don't really talk bad per se, quote unquote, bad about projects like that. Even though I have my reservation about all of them outside of what I like to talk about. It's just natural. I can't promise that I'm not going to continue to keep sick. I have to be who I am. Like, it's not about FUD, it's about being real. I don't care. It's about being real. It's about being honest. It's about calling it how it is. Calling it how it is. Yes, we need other people to participate in Pulse Chain, but the problem, even Richard said it one time on a Spaces. He said if it was up to him, he wouldn't care for having anything else outside of Hex, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X. If it was up to him, all he would want on Pulse Chain would be Hex. He said, what does Vitalik do? You think Vitalik talks about other things? Even though the whole smart contract blockchain thing is there, right? Is there? It's a highway, right? You need cars to utilize and travel in vehicles to be on the highway, right? So Ethereum has a slew of different projects and stuff on top of it. Sure, but what does Vitalik talk about? Ethereum. I could see, I could align to, I could understand what Richard was saying. But my thing is, with all these projects that are coming, like, y'all have not given Richard any type of smoke behind it. Like, if you really are serious about what you're doing, right? You got your code together, your audits, no keys, no access to these, no backdoor, funny business taking place with your works, right? Immutable, blah, blah, blah. You following everything. Yo, have a discussion with him. If y'all are really about what you're talking about, what you're promising, these dreams that you're trying to have people believe and buy into because they bought into it when you're doing sacrifices, folks have spent money on your dreams and your promises, which Richard shat upon multiple times. And you think you have it, you're the one, and blase blah. Have a discussion with the man, because my whole thing was, even though who cares? Richard don't have time for all that. But at least it'll be like just good measure and good faith. Oh, this is what I got coming out. Once Pulse Chain launches, this is what it's about. Boom, boom, boom. Here's the code. Da 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 da. And then here we go, Richard. Richard, it's not like he's not social. He asked Jackula to be proud, to big up his whole credentials and his whole history. The 21st brick in the Furu building, the 21st brick in the Google Furu building, and look what's happened since with that community. So Richard is engaging. We know this. We know that he's engaging. You'll jump on a stream with someone who has 800 subscribers and somebody else who has 500,000. Who cares? Or 1,000,000 plus. Who cares? But if your project is so A1, you think it's the greatest and blah, blah, but the founder, you're not communicating with the founder, no, nothing. Like, hell, in the beginning, Trevon James jumped on streams with Richard and came out with his hourglass contracts in the beginning. Since then, things have changed. Of course, they don't, really do the same anymore, even see eye to eye like that, but goes to show you, if you get a support, a thumbs up, because look how Richard, it took him, he said it real low, but he spoke well about, Edron and Icosa and other things that, that's a plus. But again, I understand the science. You know what I'm saying? I understand. But I'm always going to open my mouth and say, the only project person I like, and I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. The only project is not the project that I like, it's the person that I respect for the work he's done out of all of them. Facts. It's rags to riches. Branded. Shout out to, that's it. It's just him that I respect. As a person, not bigging up nothing else because I can't speak on nothing else. Because all I could go by is from experience. Like, nah, not gonna do X, Y, and Z. Let go of my precious monetary energy, disrupt my time factor to lend greatness to elsewhere with the risk of losing everything. For what? But that's the whole thing. I get it. I get it. Call them out. I've been calling them out. I made a video about liquid loans. That was early in 2021. They were the first to like make noise. You know what I'm saying? They were the first, one of the first to make noise back when the post chain sacrifice period was hot and cooking right before post sacrifice took place. You know what I mean? But it's just them plus the 100 plus others. It's like, yo, I don't mind free stuff. I don't mind free stuff. It's cool. Just don't hurt the people. Don't hurt the people. Right. Yeah, it's a thankless job. It's a thankless job. You know, it's cool though because you're still doing certain things that are working for you. You know, it's a thankless job when you try to. The best way to be alone is to tell the truth. You know, the best way to be alone is to tell the truth. So it's okay. It's a, it's what it is. Like in my life, I rather have quality over quantity any day. Any day. I don't do what I do to be a part of any cliques. It's not about any type of popularity, none of that. That just hasn't worked for me as a person in my life. It hasn't worked because it always backfired on multiple levels. So I learned to do things just a little different. A lot of people, many people, and I'm not gonna pretend like I'm an exception, but sometimes I believe that people prefer to be lied to than not. They prefer to be lied to because they can handle the lies better than they can handle the truth, you know? And when you see things like liquid loans and people leaving the project, like people who were the face, oh yeah, 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 all this stuff, da da da, and it seems sketchy to me from the jump. And the sketchy part about it was just the way that certain things were taking place to me. I'm like, yo, this doesn't feel right, yo. Doesn't feel right. I don't care about what you got going on. Post chain, we right in the middle of a whole thing with post chain sacrifice. People were speculating if the thing was going to come out November 18, blah blah blah. And you go to the post chain Telegram group, and you got folks just talking about liquid loans and want to appeal to your sensibilities, have a certain logo with the different colors of post chain. All these things work your mind and work your psychology and work your proclivity to be attached to whatever they got going on because your feelings, you all hyped and you want so much of what doesn't even exist yet. And then, with the good talk, the pretty talk, all this stuff, the fluff, flow, yo, miss me with all of that. Miss me with all that. And then when Richard just came out, it was like, yo, I've heard of liquid loans. I hope they're awesome, but more than likely, I'm sure they're gonna suck. In so many words, because all the other projects prior that I've talked about helping the Hexicans, helping the Hex community, shat on the community. And people can't help themselves, yo. So I'm not here to save anybody. I'm just here to talk my talk. I'm not here to even get a thank you. I'm just here to talk my talk. Because I know I'm not the only one who feels this way either. You know what I mean? Like it's what it is. Wow. That's heavy, man. Wow. Wow. See the power again. But see, this the thing about it is, and it's not a slight to you, thoughts. It's just again a thought you had, and you were compelled to move in a certain way to you whatever, and things unfolded the way they unfolded because of the power that is within you, and it's the same power that's within all of us. Our ability to do great things is ever present, right? It's just people sometimes misuse or don't understand or unaware, and it's just things happen. But it's no slight, it's no slight to you. Just, it's like you pass the baton, right? And folks go in and jump out the window. That's not on you. You know what I mean? You know, right? Like it's weird, folks. It's just weird, man. Weird, weird. And then things unfold for a certain way. Things materialize in a certain way that's sometimes beyond what we can really understand. So things happen for a reason, out of our hands, and maybe it happened for you to see the truth, right? A certain truth, your truth, not truth for me or anybody, but your truth. Life is mysterious like that. It's weird. That's interesting though. Wow. You said church. No DJ Lethal, Fred Durst, no Cam Do. No, what? What? Really? Yo, it's just I didn't know that. I didn't know RA said that. But I don't, I'm not sure what he even said. But that's just how that's just I'm not gonna stop, man. I'm not gonna stop. And that's why I stay away from Twitter too. I stay away from Twitter because I see different people, different promoters, different I used to call them janky promoters. Like folks who just they're paid to shill, paid to talk and talk garbage to the people, feed the people garbage. And then when the people get sick and they get scammed, it's don't put more that you can afford to lose, or you should have did your own research. That whole cycle of the circle jerk. I don't like none of that. And you can see some of the personalities that consistently try to just bombard with whatever so-called updates and this and that, but then they're shilling something, and you see it in their name, and you see it in their profile, and it's just like, we still doing this, but it's not going to change. You can't stop it. And this is what we get for wanting decentralization too. You can't stop it. Richard can't stop people from coming onto the chain and scamming. And he can't stop. No one can. No one, because this represents life too. You're dealing with human beings. You know, it's weird, folks. It's weird. You know, people just be aware. Like Hex is already incredible and has done incredible things. When you're staking it, you get a free token called Hedron. Another token that has its own operations, its own levels of functioning, its own, it does its own thing on top of hex. And then you have icosa. That alone, those three, like that alone, it will keep you busy, keep you well, like grounded on what's about to take place. But you got to understand hex. You got to understand the T-shares because those other two tokens are bonded to hex in that way, and specifically bonded to the T-shares. Y'all have to get that. Y'all have to really understand that. All this shiny other stuff, all this extra other stuff, all this other stuff, that's all it is, extra, extra. Be proficient and knowledgeable on hex, right? There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. There are reasons for that. I'm not here to really explain, but y'all have to do the work too. Not just my viewers, but people who listen to this later on in life, who find some kind of interest and they find hex and they happen to find my video 1 out of 1 million. You got to understand what you own. You got to understand what it is. You have to understand even the scarce nature related to hex and how powerful the T-share rate is. And when you have folks who've created, a person like Alex who's created tokens bonded to that, to the specific T-share rate and how it goes up and how it works and how it's bonded, why are you going to get distracted elsewhere? Hopefully, I hope it's worth it. But why would you get distracted elsewhere? And then you already have those who have been doing this for a while before the merge took place. Now you have copies on 2 other chains where you could practice because it's a lot more affordable. Some people just call those chains dead chains, ghost chains, glorified test nets like ETH-POW and ETH-FAIR, but the prices are fractions. Those are actual proof of work blockchains. Time will tell how effective they really are. I don't know, but people are scared. I get it because they're brand new. There's not much of a community. There's infrastructure that needs to be laid out, right? More work needs to be done, more development. There's no stable coins. Liquidity is low. A whole slew of concerns. But guess what? Hex is over there, right? Like so, and the same things that are bonded to Hex are over there. So you never know. Practice. ETH 2.0, too expensive. And none of this is financial advice, but if you were staking on ETH 2.0, you got copies over there. If you were staking prior to September, middle of September, September 11th, 14th, or something like that, September 14th, you got copies over there. Practice. Go play. Learn. Understand. Study. But you think I'm going to go to Big Apple tokens, Empire State tokens, or I'm going to go to, SEC swimming pool launch, all these launches or whatever sacrifice and this other stuff and that. I'm not doing that. How could I talk about doing these things, about being successful, being driven, being focused, concentrating, and you see me I'm talking about 25, 30, 40, 50 different things in 1 month? I'd be a fool. I'd be a living hypocrite. I'm not gonna do that. I can't do that. Can't do that. Aleph is a man. He said, "Oh man, I have not been here in a long time. Welcome, man. Welcome." Face fuchsia, tongue out. Yeah, that's what it's about. Channeling your inner crypto roots, because actually your roots are sacred, right? Channeling your inner your inner roots, and crypto is just a reflection of that. That's all. It's a tool, among other things, right? That's what we're doing. Trying to figure out how we can live our best lives. That's literally what we're doing. You can't go to sleep with crypto. You can't eat crypto, right? You can't take a bath with crypto. These are intangible things. It's just energy. This energy that we learn to work with. Stuff that we can't create or destroy. We just learn to work with it. We work with the energy. That's it. And it's just manifested in a way where now, because we have to make money, we have to pay for things, we have to acquire this, and everything costs. Oh, there's this system called cryptocurrency. There's a blockchain or smart contract or immutable or censorship resistant, all this stuff. Sure. And that's a whole nother thing with the E 2.0 thing that I can't understand. Folks are quiet about censorship resistant. They don't care. They don't care. People don't care. Censorship resistant, OFAC compliant, don't care. Yeah, right. No one, like E 2.0 still expensive. Prices are through the roof. Folks don't care. Don't care enough. It's about what's going on with Solana, what's going on with Avalanche, what's going on with these blockchain, what's going on with this farm, what's going on with this liquidity pool, what's going on with all these different things, and then engage in degenerate style of talk to make your arms, to make your hands sweat, to make you panic, make you become anxious, and feel like you are missing out on the golden opportunity of wreckness. And a lot of them are in the community, are in this community. That's why you got to know your stuff. You have to know your stuff. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm no expert in this. I'm just an expert in avoiding getting hurt. I could tell you that much. But, because I've been around for a little bit and I learned a little bit, and I'm an expert a little bit. Not I like that's me, my ego, a little bit proficient in avoiding getting hurt, especially monetarily, because I've been through some stuff. I got hurt a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it's through those losses I was able to gain something that can never be taken away. And at this point, that's what right here we have something where have some faith, like some people, they just, oh no, Richard, he owns the OA. What if he goes rogue? What if he leaves crypto? What if he dumps the OA and the daughters and the schmarters and the starters and the slaughters? Like, people want to live in a state of doom and gloom. And it's crazy because the majority of people in the legacy world, the way that they have their operations centralized is sick, and folks don't question that. You don't think a form of decentralization is necessary in decentralization? Well, look at how Hex performed, yo. Look at how it performed. There goes the argument of, oh no, we need 100% decentralization. I don't know if we need. I don't know. I don't think. Because the whole way Hex has performed just kind of like destroys that argument. And all you project, people, the only one I respect is the person is Rags to Riches, man. And I'm not talking about his project. I don't care for his project. I don't care for none of the projects. I hope nobody gets hurt. That's my whole thing, man. We're still waiting for a very important situation to come to pass, and that's mainnet launch for Pulse Chain. We're waiting for that. I'm waiting for that more than even Pulse X. Truth be told. You think I'm gonna just be distracted elsewhere, a million other different ways? No, I'm not. I'm not, because my worth, my value is way too precious for me to expend on 150 different projects on deck waiting to. No, let me enjoy and continue to not expect anything from the work of anybody and dream about Pulse Chain being a thing. Let me do that. I'm gonna do that because I sacrifice to be able to just talk and move around. And I think that's important, by the way. Like, really, that's why the thing was done. So I'm dreaming And that's where we are. That's where we at. You give me something for free? Oh, appreciate you. You give me some airdrop for free because I was taking this important coin that brought what? How many other opportunities since? I appreciate you. On two extra chains, I appreciate you. I don't know if anything past no, September 14th, if you know, whatever with the other two chains. But what I'm saying is, Hex, you staked that one thing, and how many other blessings did it bring? And now we're waiting for the powerful super highway of a blockchain, pulse chain. Now that we know primarily its function was staking, now with the whole word argument, staking and mining, well, what's that going to look like? That's all I need to know on the surface level. What are we doing? Is it going to be staking, or are we sticking with mining on pulse chain? What's it? What? Because if it's not mining on pulse chain, why do you have to change the word on hex? Right? That's my personal thing. That's my OCD thing. That's me. But I'll listen. Nobody's taking anything precious as far as whatever sacrifice that you know, my dreams of just whatever away from. I had no expectations. Straight up. But hey, this was what it was. It's what it was. And it should, if it materialized, that's just a bonus. That's great. But we got this hexing that's working crazy. The T-share rate is not the same today that it was last week. Like, this is crazy. This is just what we're doing. We're living through history with movers and shakers. We're living through this. We're living through this. We're experiencing this. There will be historical and astute individuals in the future who will go back and do the research, and they will see us. They will hear about us. They will look at this community. They'll look at this blockchain and be like, wow, these folks were on the level. They were onto something right here. Wow. And we need to appreciate that. We need to appreciate that we're living through these moments at the same time experiencing every other aspect of our lives. How fortunate are we? How really blessed and fortunate are we? I just experienced some. I just told somebody the other day, you know, I said, you accept crypto? They were scared, shook, daddy. They were shook. Do you accept crypto? It's Venmo. You're giving me options of some Venmo, Zelle, Cash App. Nothing wrong. I'm not down. Listen, bro, you accept cryptocurrency? It was crickets. It's 2023. I'm older than him by 20 years too, and he was scared. What are you scared? You know what? It's okay. Be scared. Be scared. It's not your fault. When the ship sails and you're looking at that big ship sail of successful people like us, that's gonna be on that ship to greatness, you're gonna understand why later. They're gonna understand why later. When it's too late. Cost of living through the roof. Cost of living is through the roof. And you don't even understand why. You don't even understand 0.75 BPS, basis points. What does that translate? All I understand is it's costing me $14.99 for a carton of eggs. That's crazy. $12.99 for a gallon of orange juice. All this extra stuff. And you tell me about some 2.5, some 0.25, 0.50, 0.75 basis points. All this, everything shot up to the roof, through the roof. Everything more expensive. Everything more expensive. And you scared about some crypto? Because you think people are moving like narcos? You think folks are just trying to just quietly, you know, launder their money and involve in criminal, illegal, underworld type of activity? That's what you're 2023. But you rather talk to me about some pronouns. That's the type of engagement I have sometimes with certain young people that are so hard-headed. They're so thick in the head, can't see. You want to talk to me about some binary, cisgender, some pronoun? Yo, Everybody understand money. Everybody understand money. I don't care what you're talking about, what you're waking up feeling like you are today or tomorrow, whenever. You understand money, right? You don't. Yeah. Or you don't. Or you don't know how it works. Most of you don't know how it works. Well, then you have something right here that's going to help you. That's been helping you, whether you like it or not, and it's going to help many other people. You can watch from afar if you don't get involved. You can watch from afar. Don't cry. Don't cry because you missed that 00 UTC. You missed that click over. You missed it. You missed it again. You're gonna miss it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. You keep missing it because you're unwilling to really see. Give yourself a chance to really discover the light within you, your inner greatness, because that's what it boils down to. The person. It boils down to you, yourself. The future is bright because the light is always within us. But many people want to remain in the dark, mentally shackled. Because they don't like somebody, because they just, outrage this and that and this and that. Few nonsense. Nonsense. In the grand scheme of things, you're gonna wish you coulda, shoulda, woulda. Because certain things are moving in a certain direction that we can't help, we can't even control. We're just right here avidly participating and watching. While 00 UTC, it's cha-ching, and it's about to be, it already happened. It already happened. The 00 UTC, we got cha-ching at the time of this recording 17 minutes ago. If you were staking, we got blessed right now. Come on. Good people. Let me go through this chat real quick before I let you good people go. Oh man, rest up, man. Rest up. He said all fluff. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, yeah, indeed. Yeah. No, for real. For real. 100%. An expert in avoiding getting hurt. Like seriously, I'm not trying to get boozled, hoodwinked, and scared. Call me paranoid, call me whatever. It's the truth. It's the real. Exactly. Exactly. For real. 100%. That's the truth. Thank you, Don. But yeah, they deserve, when the ship sails, because the ship has been sailing. We're on that ship anyway. That's another thing we have to realize too. Those of us are already tapped in, we tuned in, we did what we have to do, mining, whatever you want. Excuse me, we participating, and we were able to cha-ching right now at 00 UTC. We on the ship already. We on the ship. You know? And the waters are what they are. And when the waters rise, all the boats are gonna rise with it, and we're already gonna be on the ship. Already. You want to talk about in the last 60 days, the price went from 1.8 to 7.9 7.9 cents within the last 60 days. How many X's is that? 3, 4X, 60 days, bear market, funky economy, funky financial state and conditions that we live in. Oh, 3, 4X. And we still in some time, we still waiting for post chain. We still, people are just whatever. This is what Hex did. That's why a lot of other communities and other things on earlier when I was talking about Hourglass, this is different over here. It's different. It's just different. It's just different. It's different. Over here, it's not the same. It's not necessary. It's not zero sum. Those are the things, man. Somebody always ends up losing. Over here, if you're staking, you're earning daily. So eventually, I mean, come on, man. You're experiencing price appreciation. At the same time, you're experiencing yield regularly. Regularly. That's a win. On top of other things, on top of free coins, on top of opportunity to mine other coins based on the hex coin that you mine. Folks. And then we're waiting, unexpecting anything though, with no expectation. I don't believe in all that, that's it. I'm dreaming. In my dream, I'm masterfully staking all kinds of pulse, and that's what it is. I'm mining all kinds of pulse chain in my dreams. When I sleep and REM level, my bags are loaded. I got this thing working for me in my dream, man. And then when I'm awake, it's 00 UTC, like clockwork. Hex loves us so much that it is here to serve us. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. God bless y'all. Take care.